You're here because you've heard that in order to create content that really resonates with your audience, you need to understand what your ideal client's pain points are. And that's the truth. That's why today I'm going to be sharing with you questions that you can ask to find out what your ideal client's biggest pain points are. Hi, my name is Candice Davis Blackman. Welcome to Social Rebellion Marketing, where we talk all things content strategy with some biblical wisdom, of course. Now, there's a reason why understanding what your ideal client's pain points are is so important. I mean, apart from helping you come up with content that resonates with them, what it's really doing is helping you meet your ideal clients where they are at whenever they see your content. And there's actually very good biblical basis for this. Jesus, we know, routinely meets people where they are at, whether it's people who have no faith or people who are full of faith. And actually, I'm thinking right now about an instance with one of his disciples, Thomas, who we like to call Doubting Thomas. The particular scripture I'm thinking about is John chapter 24, verses 24 to 29. So let me just quickly read that for you. It says, "Now Thomas, called the twin, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came. The other disciples therefore said to him, 'We have seen the Lord.' So he said to them, 'Unless I see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe.' And after 8 days, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas with them. Jesus came, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst and said, 'Peace to you.' Then he said to Thomas, 'Reach your finger here, and look at my hands, and reach your hand here, and put it into my side. Do not be unbelieving, but believing.' And Thomas answered and said to him, 'My Lord and my God.' Jesus said to him, 'Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed.'" Now, there were at least 3 times where Jesus had told the disciples about his impending death and resurrection. So there was actually no reason for Thomas to disbelieve the other disciples when they said they had seen Jesus alive after he was dead. And yet, Thomas still needed that physical evidence. And if he didn't have that physical evidence, then he wouldn't believe that Jesus had actually risen from the dead. And even more, Jesus did not have to give Thomas that physical evidence for him to believe. And yet he did. Jesus allowed Thomas to touch the nail imprints in his hands and to touch his side where he was pierced, just so that Thomas could believe. What Jesus was actually doing was meeting Thomas where he was at. And there are other instances in the Bible where God met people where they were at. And so it's wise for you as well in your content to meet your ideal clients where they are at. Remember, they are not at a point where they know exactly everything that they need to do. Otherwise, they wouldn't need your services. So when you create your content, the idea here is to meet people where they are at in terms of addressing all their frustrations, their failures, things that they just can't get right. And in doing that, that's how you raise your credibility. That's how you raise your visibility with them and put you in a position where they are likely to turn to you when they're ready to receive paid help. Now, I'm giving you questions to actually help you think through and document all of those frustrations and pain points that your ideal clients deal with. Because I've noticed that many of you, when you try to think about it, you can probably only come up with maybe 1 or 2 or 3 at most problems that your ideal clients deal with. But when I give you these questions, what it's going to help you do is systematically go through and isolate each of those frustrations and failures and pain points and challenges that you may not have thought about. But it's going to come out when you ask these questions. Okay, so the first question is, what do your ideal client struggle with? Now, let me give you a tip here. I want you to make a note of all of those steps, all of those activities that your ideal clients need to carry out either on their own or with you, before coming to you, after dealing with you, all of those things that they need to do in order to get to the outcome that they want, no matter how small. Make a list of all of those steps. Now, as you go through the steps, look to see which of those steps your ideal clients routinely struggle with, right? And then you create content around those things that they struggle with. So you can make content that gives them a step-by-step approach to getting over those hurdles that they have, or you can look at reasons why they struggle with those steps, mistakes that they are making that causes them to struggle with those steps, and then what they should do to get it right. Or you can even give them a list of signs that they are doing things wrong. Now, the second question that you can ask to bring out your ID clients' biggest pain points are, what do your ID clients think they need but don't have to get to where they want? So again, make a note of all of those things that they think they need to have, but they don't actually have. And then you go about creating content around those things. So, for example, you can share steps to them getting what they don't have, right? To getting those things that they need. Or you can share a bunch of alternative ways for them to get what they need. Or maybe you can focus on the tools that they need to have to get what they need. Or maybe you can show them where they need to go to get what they need. And you can even talk about why they actually don't need to get the things that they think they need in order to get to the outcome that they want. Because, sometimes people think that they need something and they actually don't. And if that's the case, your job as the expert is to show them why they don't actually need those things and what they need instead. And now, a third question that you can ask to find out what your ID client's biggest pain points are is, what takes a lot of time and effort to do? Because let me tell you, the things that take a lot of time and effort are a source of great frustration for your ID clients. And they're often looking for ways to do those things easier or faster. And so that's exactly what your content can be about. You can show them the best way to do or to get something easier or faster. You can give them tips. Again, maybe you can alert them to mistakes that they are making that causes them to lose time. Or maybe you can focus on what they need to have or even who they need to become to be able to do things easier and faster. And the fourth question you should be asking to uncover your ID clients' biggest pain points is, what have your ID clients tried and failed at in the past to solve their problem? And I'm thinking here of solutions that they would have tried where they needed to consult someone else or something else outside of themselves to solve the problem. So maybe it would have been a product that they tried, or maybe an alternative service that they tried, a technique that they tried, a course that they tried, some alternative path that they tried in order to solve their problem. So in this case, in the types of content that you produce, you can look at things like explaining why did they fail? Why did those solutions fail? Right? And what alternative approaches do they need to take? Or maybe what corrective actions they needed to take? Or maybe at the time that they tried these things, the circumstances were such that they would have failed, but maybe circumstances change over time. What would have been their circumstances in the past compared to what circumstances that may have changed now that would cause them now to succeed where they would have failed in the past? Or perhaps you can tell the story of how you or people that you know, your clients, failed and then succeeded after they would have taken a particular course of action. And now on to our fifth and final question that you can ask to uncover your ID client's biggest pain points. What concepts, tools, systems, or apps do your ID clients find difficult to understand or use? Perhaps there are certain tools, techniques, systems that they need to interact with in order to get what they want. Now think about it. You can make content walking them through the features of that particular tool, app, or system. And of course, you would want to do this at bits at a time. You'd never want to do several features all at once. Or you can show them how to get something done using a particular feature that they may not know about or a feature that they struggle with. Or you can spend time explaining how things work and then showing how that should inform your ID client's behavior in getting what they want. All right, so I encourage you to get a copy of what I call my ideal client questions. Now, these are a list of questions that I've pulled out that covers all these different aspects of your ID client that you should know about, not just for your ID clients' pain points, their frustrations, their failures, but for many different areas that you should document about your ID clients. Things like their wants and their aspirations, their objections and hesitations, their purchase behaviors, their content preferences, and I've made it available to you for free. Again, you can go to the link in the description or click the link in the bio and enter your name and email address, and I will send you a copy of that list of ID client research questions for free. So perhaps you're at a point where you know that you need the help of a professional in order to get your content marketing strategy together. Well, I invite you to book a call with me and we can walk through how we can get that done. I follow a prescribed process that makes it very efficient for you to build and launch your content marketing strategy in just 7 weeks. We cover all the bases, including how you can research your ID client, how you can come up with your offer messages, how you can create content that's not only tailored to your ID clients, but also tailored to your marketing goals, how you can expand your presence through organic and paid content directly in front of your target audience. So if you're at the stage where you know you're ready to engage the services of a professional, then I encourage you to go to the link in the description and book a call, and we'll have a conversation to first understand your needs, and we'll get going on building your content marketing strategy in as little as 7 weeks.